Hi homeschoolers, it's me Jazz again from Hidden Library Homeschool, and I'm back with another homeschool book haul. I'm not going to show all the books that I've been accumulating in the past couple of weeks and months, but I do have quite a few books to show you today. Some of the books I have, I just got over the weekend. One I'm really excited about, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video so I can do more of a flip through it. It's a book that I've been hoping for something like that to come out, and once it did, I looked at the samples, and it was in my Amazon cart and bought pretty quickly, and I'm really glad that I did buy it. And then some of the books that I've had for quite some time, because when I was thinking about this school year, I think I've mentioned before in one of my other videos, I was going to do a separate history program with my middle son who is in kindergarten and do cultures and continents just like I did with his older brother. But I just decided it was going to be too much to do two different history with the boys, and my middle son could just tag along and we can focus more on reading and math with him. So those books are just going to be shelved until we get back around to the topic of cultures and continents. So to start out, I do have a couple of books that I've been getting whenever they're on sale, going down to, half price or so. And another reason I've gotten so many books is because my husband and I noticed that we weren't getting the mail. When I stopped buying books for a little bit of time, thinking, I have time to buy these, I can buy these for next year in, just a couple months before next year. But when I stopped buying books, no one is motivated to go get the mail. So my husband was saying, you need to buy a book at least once a week or so, buy one book or something, just so that we're getting the mail and we're able to get the things there and someone's actually motivated to go to the mailbox. So sometimes it's just a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book or something like that for my older son to read over the weekend. We have plenty of books here for him to read, and I do buy him books, here and there whenever, because I'm not opposed to books, and if he wants to do that over the weekend, I'm more than happy to buy him a book. But some of the books I also have been getting are, again, for next year. So I did buy on one of Amazon's flash sales, My Side of the Mountain, and this is something I'm considering for next year in 4th grade. I do also have Homeward Price. I'm trying not to get too much glare, but I don't think I've ever read through this book completely. I think in elementary school or whenever it was in school, I read maybe a snippet here and there in one of the anthologies. You know how a lot of public school books have just a piece of the story, but not the whole story. So I'm pretty sure I read just a piece of it, but I'm going to read through this and see if this is something we want to use for 4th grade. I also have Only the Names Remain, and this is about the Cherokee Trail of Tears. And since we're going to be in the 1800s and looking at this time period and this event within history next year, this is something that I'm considering. But I'll see, depending on how in detail they get and what the wording is, we might do it next year, or I might find something more at a 4th grade level if this is not appropriate for that, but I haven't read it, so I don't know if it's something that we'll use next year or we'll use when we cycle back around. I also have Cartboy and the Time Capsule, and when I was reading about this online, considering the book, it was kind of put out as a fun way to learn about history for kids, and while I just don't think that it's something I want to present as a school book. I wouldn't be opposed to my older son reading it on his own. I don't know that he'd want to, but I just don't think it's something we're going to be using for school. I also have Shiloh, and this is something I know I read in school, in elementary school, but considering what I remember and just kind of reading off the back, I think this is something we might actually save for 5th grade, because it probably goes more along with our theme for what we're doing within literature in 5th grade. So I'm going to read through this and see if we want to save that for then. I also have Island of the Blue Dolphins, and this is something, again, that we're considering for 4th grade. I also have from the Ready to Read series, this is a level 3 book, Secrets of American History, Revolutionary War, The Founding Fathers Were Spies. And this, I guess, Secrets of American History is a new kind of series within the Ready to Read series. And what I like about this is it kind of reminds me of the Blastback books. I'm liking that I'm now able to find more things at the elementary age level and for the even younger elementary age. So just like the Blastback book, this is written at a level that a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grader would be able to easily understand. There are pictures in here, short chapters. At the end is a little, there's a quiz at the end, and I think there's also some type of things about codes and real codes in here too. And I know that there's more coming out in this series. I see that there are things for, with the 2018 date, that more coming out. I think they already have about Civil War, there's suffragettes, and I know there's other ones coming out within a lot of topics within American history. So this is something that we'll be adding to our history program. We just did last week Galileo's Journal, and what I like about this is the size of it, but that it's a picture book, and it's a picture book that I think is appropriate for a second, third, or even fourth grader, because while the information, there's lots of information here, it's presented very clearly, but there's illustrations that complement it, and they're not too like cheesy little kid type of thing. They actually do complement what they're talking about in the story. So nice illustrations in here. And at the back of the book, the author does talk about Galileo's life and notes, and my son was disappointed to hear that the author was not 100% sure whether Galileo had a dog or not. And I'm telling him that's, really neither here nor there with his contribution to science, but my son was very disappointed that it was a book about Galileo and his dog being his companion, and the dog might not have been real. So I guess that's what he was focused on. I also have test prep grade 3, and the reason I picked this up, because while we are in Texas and we don't have to do testing here, we are considering moving closer to family back on the East Coast, and where I'm from is where the strictest homeschool laws are in the country, all of those surrounding areas that we're considering. And a lot of the places over there, the kids would have to start taking testing in 3rd grade. So if we do move, we may not even move, but if we do decide to move to one of those places, I do want him to have, I'm trying not to get too much glare, I do want him to have some sort of experience with test taking, because while you may know the information, test taking is a little bit of a skill in itself, so I do want him to just at least do a little bit of practice, not something I'd have him do, cover to cover or anything like that. But if we don't end up moving, then we probably won't even use this book. So like I said, I was considering doing cultures and continents with my middle son. So I did pick up some of these books to go along with that. There are more in the series. This is again from the Ready to Read series, but this is level 2, still something that I would read to a kindergartner. Or if we had been doing this topic now, it's something that my 3rd grader would easily be able to read to my kindergartner. And like I said, there's more in this series, but once we decided we weren't going to be doing that topic, I just decided to shelve these, and if we buy more, when we go over it in a couple of years, they'll, I can always buy more of them. So I do have China, India, Brazil, Mexico, Italy, and also South Africa. So this has, I like that the words are pretty large. There are pictures in here. So it's something that shows about what it would be like to live in that place. So this would have been perfect if we were actually doing that topic. I also have amazing Africa projects you can build yourself, and I'm having a lot of trouble finding a lot of good quality things on Africa. I see a lot of stuff that is still from the 90s, which, I mean, is great information, but I'm looking for some things that are updated, especially when you're talking about people's lives. Within 20 years, people's lives have changed. I mean, I can only speak for the experiences people have here in America, but I would assume that in a lot of other places within the last 20 years, things have changed. Of course, who is in charge of individual countries has, of course, changed within that amount of time in a lot of places. So I am looking for more things for the younger elementary set for Africa and all of the countries within. I'm finding it easy to find, of course, things on Egypt and Ethiopia and South Africa. But a lot of the other countries within it, I'm finding it hard to find a lot of information on modern day, what a kid would be doing at that, in the individual countries. So if you do have any suggestions on books about Africa and all the countries within it, or even one country within it, then that would be much appreciated. Please put those in the comments below. I do have a couple of books that I am considering that are in my Amazon wish list, some books that I'm thinking about for Africa and a couple of different countries. Like I said, I've been finding stuff on Ethiopia and stuff like that. But I'm looking for more than just that. But this book, it does say it's for 9 and up, and this is probably something that I would read myself and then just relay the information to my kids, since it's probably not at a kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade level if I was doing this topic right now. They do say there are some projects in here, but I don't know. This book, I don't know. I know that there's probably some better stuff out there. So yes, like I said, please put them in the comments below if you have any great Africa books. And we also have Lon Po Po, and this is a Red Riding Hood story from China. And we did this as an audiobook with my older son, and I wanted to own the book, so we did buy it so I can read this then when we go back over that topic. I also have Hidden Tales from Eastern Europe, and this has tales from Russia, Poland, Romania, and a couple of other countries of Eastern Europe. So when we were doing cultures and continents, each week when we were doing a different country, I like to have some sort of fable, fairy tale, some sort of story from all of the countries that we were going over that we would either listen to or I would read to the kids. So I was glad to find a book about Eastern Europe. And this does have some illustrations in it. Most of them are pretty small, but it does have some illustrations in it. And the last book I did pick up for our cultures and continents that when I was considering it is Children Just Like Me. And when we did this a couple of years ago, they did have the older version of this book out, the first edition, and it looked pretty dated. So instead we did, what is it called? A School Like Mine, which was pretty similar, but it talked more about kids and their education in different countries. It did go a little bit on their life, but mostly about how they were educated in different countries. And I was glad to find this a new updated version, and I did pick this up, and I am kind of revamping my history lesson plans, curriculum, DIY, whatever you want to call it, thing that I've been doing for kindergarten, first, and second grade. So I'm going to add this to my newer lesson plan. So when we cycle back around, I'll have all, the page numbers linked up to whatever country that we're doing for the week. And as you've probably seen in a lot of my book haul videos, I seem to always have, this is going to have a lot of glare because of the gold, but I seem to always have an encyclopedia. I always have one. I think I'm looking for like the perfect encyclopedia. And this might just be it. I do like the DK encyclopedias for the younger set. I like that this book, for two reasons I really like this book. I love how clear this is. There's a lot of information, but it doesn't seem like it's an overwhelming amount of information on each page. And another thing I like about it is on the pages where it does have people, some of them, yes, it's a computer kind of version of people, but on the ones where it does have a picture of people, I love that it's updated. I feel like in a lot of encyclopedias, they slap on a new cover, update about Pluto, and call it a new encyclopedia. But it looks like I'm looking at the same kids that I probably looked at in an encyclopedia when I was a kid in the 90s. And after 20, 25 years, I just think that they should update pictures every so often. So I do like that the pictures are updated in here. But I seem to not be finding any with an actual person when I'm doing this right now. But there are some in here. But like I said, I love how clear this is. And I think this is perfect for kindergarten, first, second grade. This is probably going to be the encyclopedia that I switch out on my lesson plans for my younger elementary thing. And some of the books that I just got recently are, this book I've had in and out of my Amazon cart for months now, probably 6 months or more. I keep putting it in and I haven't bought it. And I finally did get this. And I do like the topic on here. I think that my son is going to like this. He's very skeptical about everything. Well, why did they do this? Why did they think that? He's always questions like that. But I think it's more me. I was a little hesitant about the pictures. And actually only one picture. Maybe it's just my taste. But there's this one picture in here. And to me, yeah, I don't know. The kids' heads, that's just freaky to me. That's probably like a personal, just me thing. But to me, that just kind of, I don't know, just didn't. I don't like the way that looks. But the other pictures, it's, drawings, I'm fine with that. So, not a reason not to give it to my son. So, I will give this to him to read. And I think that he'll enjoy that. I also do have Who Was Ferdinand Magellan? And we're getting on to the explorers and the age of exploration, this 6 weeks or so that we're in right now. So this is something that I will use as both my son's student read aloud, because I do have him read a book aloud to me, and he also has a silent reading book that he reads to himself and just tells me about each chapter when he's done. But this will be his read aloud to me, and then it also serves as part of our history curriculum. And then the last book I want to show you is this one. This is the one I was telling you I have been looking for something like this for so long. And this is pretty similar to this book here, Children Just Like Me. This one talks about kids in different countries and their lives there. This one talks about kids throughout time and throughout history and their lives at different places and points within history. So A Child Through Time, the book of, trying to read it backwards, of children's history. So what I like about this book is, just like the DK encyclopedia, it's very clear the way that they show things, and it shows kids from not just, you know, because I've gotten history books that say, oh, all of history, and then they just show Egypt, Africa, Egypt within Africa, they show Rome, they show Greece, and that's pretty much it, like those ancient societies. Like, that's not a comprehensive history if you only show 3 or 4 places there. So I do like that this shows more than just a couple of different places. And it does have kids, real kids, and also kids that they've kind of made up and put them within that time period and how they would have lived. So it starts out with child living during the last ice age, and we go on to other places like this. It shows what a boy's life would have been in ancient Egypt. But if you turn the page, it talks about a real child in ancient Egypt, King Tut. So I like that it kind of goes back and puts both in there so you can get a picture of how kids would look. And I think that this book will be a good complement to our history program, because while it's fun and exciting to learn about the conquerors and the rebellions and different, you know, events and the kings and the queens and all the back and forth and whatever's going on within history, that's exciting. But a lot of times that tends to be the adults that are doing a lot of those things. So I think it'll be fun to see what kids are actually doing, or a kid his age would have been doing at different points in different places in history. So I think this will go well with our history program. And it also has things in here about clothes through time, transportation, food, schools. So this is A Child at the Time of Attila the Hun. We have, let's see, a girl, a Maya girl. We have In a Viking Village. So I'm not going to show all of it, but I'm really excited about this book. And I will definitely be adding this, like I said, to my lesson plans, because this will fit so nicely within to be able to study this page throughout the week. Having the 2-page spread there. So this is talking about food through time, and then this is a girl in an Aztec village, A Child in Lisbon, the Renaissance. And I like too that we did, since, you know, a lot of this back here we've already done in previous years, gone through that time in history. So I kind of just flipped through it with my older son. But I do know that in a lot of our books that we're talking about the Renaissance, they were talking about some of the instruments. So it was nice to be able to show him a picture of them there too. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff all throughout history. And here again is a real child in history. And let's see. I seem to be getting all the real people now. But there are other, let's see. There are other kids in here. A child in the French Revolution. I'm trying to wrap this up here. So, yeah, a child in Bolivia. And then it ends, it goes right on into modern history. And the last, I mean, it does have like Anne Frank in here. But the last child that they show is Ruby Bridges. And then at the end of it, it talks about children of the future. So I'm super excited about this book. I think that this is the book that will complement almost any history program and have, like I said before, kids being able to see what kids in different time periods are doing. So I would definitely recommend this book to a lot of homeschoolers, especially those that kind of cycle through history, that this would fit perfectly for that. So thanks for checking this video out from Hidden Library Homeschool. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Bye.